Yeah, and I think my reaction, just like you, was a little bit of disappointment. I don't want to discount the ability of Luis Garcia Jr. or Heliot Ramos. I think those are quality players, but I think that the spots on the team that we saw of glaring issues, whether that be the catcher or you could say maybe the third baseman at points, but especially the catcher. I think that's the one that we harp on. And then also, like you made the point that they will be having Clark Schmidt come back. They will be having potentially shifting Ryan Weathers into the pen, shifting a Will Warren into the pen. But I would have really liked to see them add some sort of reinforcement as it pertains to the bullpen. I think, though, looking at this AL East, that is also the biggest takeaway. It's not as if the Yankees did not get better because I think they did get better. But now you're looking at the Tampa Bay Rays and the Boston Red Sox. The Red Sox are only 2 games back from the Yankees, and the Yankees are 3.5 games back from the Tampa Bay Rays in the AL East. If you look at what they did yesterday, we know that the Red Sox paid a huge freight for Adley Rutschman, but that's a catcher that's added. Then you look at the Rays, they added Tyler Wells, they added a catcher in Liam Hicks, they added Freddie Peralta. It's not that the Yankees didn't do something to improve the team. It's just that they allowed some of the glaring issues on the roster to not be addressed. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little irritated that the other 2 teams in the division that are now in the heat of the race with the Yankees upgraded the spot that they so desperately need to upgrade because let's say what it is. They have probably the worst position group in the sport at the catching position, and that is a big issue. And I know Wells hit a home run yesterday. He's been playing a little better as of late when you crunch the numbers, if you take a butter knife to it. But to not address it was a bit of an issue for a lot of Yankee fans, and understandably so. And so I've been saying for months now that this team is not just going to easily run away with the division because we know the summer weeks, the summer months come through, and other teams are going to make deals. They're going to get hot. The Red Sox have won like 23 out of their last like 30 some odd games. They're getting hot. And so it feels as though, yes, the Yankees improved the offense where they have been struggling, where they've been doing poorly, but the other teams around them made address their weakness that the Yankees just didn't, and that does sting to a degree. So, but looking at Luis Garcia Jr., he's one of the best. I mean, you could call him one of the best sluggers in the National League. Not even, if not the best slugger in the National League. Off of righties, he's batting 298 with 21 home runs, 66 RBIs. Off lefties, not so much, not as good on the left against righties. 200 batting average with 2 home runs, 8 RBIs. So you're looking at kind of a platoon bat situation there. When it comes to Heliot Ramos, you're seeing him as, again, more of a platoon player. Is he going to be taking time away from Trent Grisham? Is that more of a split? How does Spencer Jones factor in? So with those 2 moves, I'm not going to discount them. I'm not going to say that they were poor moves because I think they improved the offense. But it just has you scratching your head a little bit of where the direction will come down in October. How are they going to shift around these offensive players? When or if a player like Giancarlo Stanton returns? When or if Aaron Judge returns? It's a little puzzling to me, and I think a lot of Yankee fans are on the same page with that, Keith.
Yeah, and I know no one wants to hear it, but it is a real thing. There is a Yankee tax. There is a Cashman tax. Just look at what the Tigers were rumored to ask for with Tarek Skubal. Supposedly they wanted Cam Schlittler, they wanted Ben Rice, they wanted Spencer Jones. And then look what they took from the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Like most people looked at that deal and said, that's it? That's all that they got from the Dodgers? Anybody could have beat that, but nobody did. So back to the Yankees shopping for a catcher, it was reported that they were trying to get Adley Rutschman. And I was on air Sunday night saying, I don't think that the Orioles are going to do that. I mean, they did trade him in division, but I'm sure the asking price of the New York Yankees was a little higher than the Red Sox. And the Red Sox gave a lot. Actually, I don't even want to say it. The Red Sox might have got fleeced for this, depending on what Adley Rutschman shows up. But of course, for them, he's gonna show up. You just know he's gonna be healthy and he's gonna rake.
Yeah. In that deal, the Red Sox gave up their number 2 overall prospect, number 4 overall prospect, number 5 overall prospect. number 17th overall prospect, and then Carlos Narvaez back in that deal. So it was, you're right, it was a haul for that. And it went back to a couple comments that Cashman made yesterday. He said, as it pertains to the catching spot, he said, we tried to evaluate all opportunities on the marketplace. With that being said, I don't think there were lots of opportunities that existed that were upgrades for us. We like the players that we have, and we like the players that we have that will come down the road. Did we look to upgrade? Did we look for infield opportunities? Yes, we did. So you're right. There was probably a Yankee tax. When it comes to prospects, I will say, just speaking for myself as a fan, I am in the mode of not as on board with them as much as I may have been before. I'm not saying that the Yankees should spend like drunken sailors, but when you're in an investment period, when you have a Judge, when you have a Stanton, when you have a Cole, I probably am more likely to try and pay a little bit more. We just weren't involved in those conversations because we're fans, so we don't know the
Right.
asking price. So
You
that's
said
a
it.
big differentiator there
We're
that
fans.
I do want to understand and I do want to acknowledge. But listen, if the Red Sox make that move and then down the stretch, Adley Rutschman becomes a good player and really gets himself back on track, and that's someone that is a huge catalyst for the Red Sox in a playoff series, whether it be against the Yankees, whether it be someone else in the AL. A lot of Yankee fans are going to be upset, rightfully so. But yes, it's we know Cashman is not going to spend like a drunken sailor, and we also know that he has his limit. To what point, though, in the last few years that we see, like, I think I saw a screenshot on Yankees Twitter the other day of the top five 2023 Yankee prospects. And now here we are years later, and you go, yeah, in retrospect, you would want to do that. But it's just a frustrating point that they couldn't even really upgrade the position. I think is just, even with maybe a Tyler Stevenson, did it have to be the highest price? I don't know. I don't think I think I could have gotten behind something of an upgrade because of 500 OPS with Austin Wells is just not good. So that's just my frustration with it. And a lot of
Yeah,
Yankee fans
we're
probably
gonna
feel the
be
same.
frustrated. We're fans. Cashman never moves like a fan. Again, he's the guy that goes to the mall, window shops, knowing he could buy everything in there, but he says, "Nah, I'm not gonna buy it at that price. I need a
Yeah.
discount. I need a better rate." To me, it's not worth it. I'll stick with what I got. So he's
Hmm.
gonna stick with Austin Wells because he's gonna hope that Austin Wells gets better. Last night, Austin Wells hits the home run that starts everything that sparks the rally. It was for nothing because they ended up giving up 13 runs. But like, I hope Austin Wells has a chip on his shoulder. I hope he even has some confidence, right? To use the Knicks, for example,
Hmm.
there were rumors that the Knicks were going to trade for Giannis during the season and that Karl Anthony Towns would have to go. Karl Anthony Towns had to take that. He had to hear all of that. He had to process that. Then when the trade deadline passed, he locked in. He changed his game. He became what they needed. And I feel like Austin Wells has to become what they need at the plate. On the other side of it, the defense and calling games, as much as we rave about the starting rotation, as much as we talk about how good Cam Schlittler is, and Cole is, and Freed is, and even Ryan Weathers going tonight, they don't give him any run support, but like Austin Wells is the guy behind the dish most of the time.
Hmm.
They also have leaned in, and there was a report saying that, like, hey, even if they did get a catcher, he would be in a platoon situation with
Yep.
Wells because they still like Wells's defense. So going
Yeah.
back to it, the Cashman tax and Cashman's mentality, they're not going to go out there. If you do the comp for what the Red Sox gave up with the Yankees prospects, Cashman's hanging up the phone. He's not
Hmm.
giving his number two, no way.
Yeah.
They don't think like us. We're in panic mode. Judge's window is closing. The lockout is coming. These guys are aging out. It's been 16 years. They don't operate like that. Cashman is the eternal GM. He has to never worry about job security.
Yeah.
He's here till he wants to not be here anymore. He's always going to play the game a certain way. He got guys under control. He didn't give up too much. They are going to do like exactly what they're doing now, right? The
Hmm.
fan base is down after a disappointing deadline. Call up George Lombard Jr., get everybody excited again.
That's the thing. Yep. That is why I believe that they made that move as fitting as it was, because I think that even just a few weeks ago, I think that was the time to call him up. And I think that they healed a little bit of the wounds there and what kind of put away the slings and arrows that were coming their way because of that. And they have a funny way of doing those kind of things and having those news drops late on a Monday night at 11:30 when they say, "Oh, we're finally promoting him." So it was a little fitting, but we understand kind of how they operate in this game in these last few years and really beyond that, decades worth, really.